You'll see from the title of this video that we're going to go on and do the XAML, the GUI, the layout for Page Summary. Now, having got the data from the interface in the page details, we now process it and produce the elements of the assignment requirements. So we take the forename and the surname, we take the first letter off each, we then randomize between 1000 and 9999. We ask the user for their key or their user string. We get that, and you can see what I entered 70, etc. It then encrypts it by turning it backwards. It scores, gave me a score of 17 for this particular combination, and gave me a strength of strong. So that's what we're trying to achieve. It's a very simple interface, so this shouldn't take us too long to create, and much of what we do will be very familiar from the previous video. So let's consider the course concept. I think we need 3 rows. I won't bother with a separator row because there'll be a nice big fat space at the end here. We need 2 columns because we want to separate these buttons because the back and the exit button, the back takes us back to page details, the exit button takes us out of the application altogether. That's what we want to do, and let's set that up in XAML. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste it in so that we can just talk it through rather than you watching me type it, but I'll talk it through reasonably slowly. So we start off with an empty page. We've got the page with the X namespace as I showed you before. This is the namespace in which we're working. We've got the default grid which all pages have. I will give that, as we did before, a margin of 5, and it just pushes the edge of everything in away from the edge of the page. So that's good, so we've got that now. So I'll create, within my grid, I'll create a stack panel. Me and my stack panels, look at me. And inside there I'm going to create another grid. And that's where all our content will go, inside this grid, inside that stack panel, inside that grid. As I say, I vastly over-engineer these, but I want you to be aware that you can. So the first thing to do is to define our rows and columns, obviously, because that's where we will place all our content. And then within the grid, we have to make space for things in here. We will put the controls that we're going to use in here. Now what we're going to have as controls, we saw in the design diagrams, we're going to have a header obviously for the page because that's what we do, and then we put the data summary inside a text block in the middle of the page, and then at the bottom we'll have the space for the 2 buttons on the left and the right that will allow us to have those 2 buttons evenly spaced across the page. So let me just get the first of the text blocks, which is the title. So we've got this title, and once again we're getting my issue with the .NET Core, and it's just summary. Easy as that. I think that's easy. And I've put the comment in here. I'm just copying them over from the other side. So let's get the other one. That should be that shouldn't take any explanation at all. There we go. There's our data summary. Now, this is really quite deceptive in terms of what it will do for us. We've put a stack panel, put it in grid row 1, which is the second row, as you know, because we get index 0. We've spanned across 2 columns. You can just see it thickening up there. We've put it font family Calibri, size 20, teal, and so forth. So we've given it a name, which is summary text block, sorry, I keep saying that, text block, and that gives us something that we can address in code and send things to it. Rather, as we do in page details where we take things out of the controls, we're going to send things to this text block in code. So I've put the comment in here, and I'm just going to paste the code in here. It's exactly the same as before, so you shouldn't be any surprises. We've said that this is going to go on grid row 2, which is the 3rd grid row. We put a button in. When you paste stuff, it goes weird, and it's all a bit out of alignment for me, and I don't like my things out of alignment. So I'll tidy it up in a moment. But we've got a style, static resource, exactly the same. We've given it a name so that we can use this in code. We've given it the interface word, which is back. And then we've got another stack panel for the second button, which is in grid row 2, same one, but this time in column 1. You notice that when we're not in anything, when we're in the default column, we don't have to put what column it is. It just assumes the default, and that's why it keeps placing things in the bits where we may or have already written something. So that's what we've got. Now, just one thing, I'll just run this up, and then we'll watch what happens, just to make sure that nothing is particularly broken. So I enter up something here. So I can't even spell my own name, isn't that bad? So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Summary. Nothing's working yet in code, so that's good. So nothing is broken, and we can just move on from there. I can't easily display the page summary without making sure that we do some navigation. We're going to do that next anyway, and that will come in, and that's going to be quite easy for us to do. So I'll tidy this up, but we've got something that still works. So we'll move on to coding applications next. So we'll do the page details, which is quite big and fat. Might take a few videos to do that, but we'll do it and we'll get through it.